Hurricane Marco battling shear winds this hour as it approaches the coast of Louisiana and Mississippi. Tropical storm Laura causing devastation in Haiti. All right, welcome back, everybody. August 23rd, 2020, 7:05 p.m. And we're going to get a quick update out before the end of the night. I will be all over this tomorrow as we are approaching landfall near Louisiana, Mississippi with Hurricane Marco, expected to possibly strengthen a little bit. It is battling some shear wind. That is why you're seeing these rain bands peeling off and hitting places like Florida and Georgia and even into the Alabama, the southeastern area of Alabama right now. That will continue to push into these Gulf states as Marco approaches. Also, Tropical Storm Laura, soon to be a hurricane. We are at 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds, as you can see right here. We now have 50 knots or 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1,000 millibars in pressure, so we dropped a little bit there. Marco, as far as speed, 75, holding strong there at 991 millibars. And as I mentioned in the intro, Haiti has taken a battering from this storm. If you guys remember, the Tropical Storm Laura has basically crossed that southern end of Haiti, and the way their geography is, they just do not have a lot of places to put water, and of course, because of that, we do have some bad news coming out of there. We have a lot of deaths reported and a lot of flooding going on. They are trying to just get out of the end of it now, so I will have some more information on that tomorrow as we talk about Marco more, but Laura is getting stronger, and according to the new paths, as we can see here as kind of a combined path, we have Marco hooking out to the west, and then a few days later, basically Thursday, Laura is going to come up to the Gulf, and by then the different pressures are going to have this basically shoot up to the north part of the Gulf into the western side of Louisiana if this stays true, and then up into the states and then heading up towards the northeast. So it just goes to show how just a 48-hour period or even less, about 36 hours, can change with the jet stream and the different pressures and totally push a hurricane that is only 2 days behind another hurricane in a totally different direction. Now again, there's a lot of room for change here, even with Marco, believe it or not. Because of that shear wind, we may see more of a northern approach hitting more of Mississippi than we first thought. As we can see here on the warning charts, we have the hurricane warnings in basically the southeast quadrant of Louisiana, the tropical storm warnings extending to the west and also through the entire coast of Mississippi, and now we're getting tropical storm warnings in Alabama as well, basically ahead of that possibility if the storm does straighten out and want to come up this way. Also, we have another map that I want to show you guys, the Navy map, which we call the NavGem model. Now, if you take a look at this, we were talking earlier about the Fujiwara effect. Now, out of all the charts, we have the GFS, the Euro, and now including the Navy chart, which you have here, you're going to see both of these storms enter the Gulf and then kind of wrap around each other. That's what we call the Fujiwara effect. And now, if it were happening out in the middle of the ocean, chances are one of these storms would thrive, usually the bigger of the two. But because this is happening just at landfall, you kind of don't see the extension of one storm over the other. But I will click forward here, and you can see how these two storms are going to want to kind of manipulate each other. We have Laura right here. If this is the path it still takes, this is the information we have now. And then Marco right here making its way towards Louisiana and Mississippi. Now watch what happens when they get into the Gulf together. If Marco does hug off to the west and kind of stay in the Gulf, we're going to see Laura come up behind it, and then you see the pressure bar wrap around both of them. That means they're basically one system at this point besides the central area, and then boom, they swing around each other and kind of loop-de-loop up into the states. Now, if this was in the middle of the ocean, we would see them wrap around each other almost like a figure eight, and then one storm would protrude from both of them. Very interesting stuff, and it's pretty in-depth stuff. There's a lot more that goes into it than just that, but that is it in a nutshell. Also, as of this hour, you could see the highest of the storm surge predictions right now is between Morgan City and the mouth of the Mississippi River. You can see right here at the border of Louisiana as it sticks out into the Gulf and then connects with Mississippi here. Some of this may move a little bit to the east as well as the west as the storm approaches, and we see a wider central area of the storm if it does get bigger. Again, that shear wind is really peeling off a lot of that moisture into the east. So for it to move to the west is going to take a little bit of maneuvering, but we will keep a close eye on it, absolutely. And you could see a little bit of that here. If I drag the cursor farther, you could see all that moisture going into the panhandle of Florida. Some pretty severe thunderstorms moving right into that catcher's mitt area of the panhandle as well, and that mid part of Florida. Now we're going to see all that rain moving into Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, and then as we approach Louisiana, it's going to start going even higher. Tennessee, Kentucky, areas like that. And finally, we're going to take a look at the spaghetti plots for each storm, this being Hurricane Marco. You can see some of these plots making that sharp, drastic turn to the east. That is based on all different types of things, the flow coming in from the Bermuda Atlantic, the jet stream, as well as pressure coming up from the Gulf itself, that shear wind that we have in the Gulf that's peeling off all that rain into Florida. So you can kind of understand why some of these plots have changed direction in the last few hours. Most of them all hugging to that western side landfall to the southeastern part of Louisiana and then peeling off to the west side. We got to wait and see what happens to see if that Fujiwara effect will take place once Laura shows up on its back end, I guess you could say. And now looking at Tropical Storm Laura spaghetti plots, one of them takes it right over basically the northern hugging edge of Cuba, and a lot of them now have it going over water, which is what we did not want to see. If you guys remember earlier today, this afternoon actually, we had most of these plots over the middle of Cuba, I should say. And now a lot of these plots have moved south, which is going to put it over open water for a lot longer, hitting that western edge of Cuba and then into the Gulf, where it has plenty of room to gain strength. And they're already predicting at least a Category 2 by the time this is ready to make landfall. It's going to be a long couple days, my friends, and I appreciate every one of you that watch these videos. If you would like to, please like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. Sharing these videos really helps out the channel, and I really enjoy doing this work for all of you. So everyone stay safe, stay tuned for the next update, and I'll be all over this tomorrow as we await the landfall of Hurricane Marco.